Greetings. Welcome to the second budget public hearing, which I consider one of the most important meetings because we decide how our departments are funded, how outside agencies are funded, and an important meeting. And so let me first lead off, and Wes, thank you and your staff. I mean, when you're looking at the amount of money that's budgeted, it takes a lot of time to get that done. So thank you. And we have a balanced budget. They can't do that in DC, they can't do it in Tallahassee, but we do have a balanced budget. And, you know, I wanted to reduce it as a Democrat, but my Republican friends want to keep increasing the amount of money that we're paying. So I will probably support my Republican friends for once. Please turn your cell phone to vibrate silence or the offsetting. We have an invocation. And Horace, would you please join us in invocation? Please stand for the invocation.
Heads bow. Father God, we thank you, Lord, for your grace and for your mercy. You've been good to us, and for that we do want to say thank you. We ask that you look on this meeting tonight, look on the leaders that they have chosen to provide direction for Escambia County. Not only look on them, look on their families who are a partaker of their calling that you have given them. Bless them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Begosh, will you lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Was this meeting properly advertised?
Mr. Chairman, the second public hearing for consideration of the final budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 was advertised in the Escambia Sun Press on September 21st, 2023, and the board's weekly meeting schedule. The notice of proposed tax increase and the budget summary for fiscal year 2023-2024 were advertised in the Pensacola News Journal on September 21st, 2023.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The chair will entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda as printed.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion. Please raise your hand. That passes 5 in favor. Thank you so much. We have the board action items, but before that, certainly this is a very important meeting, so we will do Commissioner's Forum. Commissioner Begosh?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really nothing for the good of the order other than to reiterate what you said. The staff, Stephen Hall and his team, have worked very, very hard, very diligently all year. I want to thank the taxpayers for continuing to support the penny that we use for infrastructure and public safety, and I do appreciate the public, the general public, and the taxes they pay that allow us to give record raises to our first responders and our employees and our sheriff's officers. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you to the people, and thank you to Stephen, Wes, and the staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I saw Mayor Alex come in, and so we're glad that we got Stephen from the city, and so we're better off because Alex let him go. Thanks, Alex. Commissioner Kohler?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. I don't have much to say other than same things. Thank you, Stefan. This is my first budget hearing. I've been part of budgets on the federal side multiple times, but budgets are a reflection of what the elected officials find are important for the citizens. And it's important that when we pass this, that the people know that it's been due diligence and thought out and the work's been done. And so I appreciate what your team's done, and I look forward to seeing where we end up tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Kohler. Commissioner Bender.
Sure, and of course, this is the work that they do all year round, and not just in the last 2 months leading up to this that help us get through the year. On a different note, I would just like to recognize everyone that was involved in the move for Baptist on Saturday. I think it went extremely well. They were, from what I heard, finished close to about 11:30, which is, of course, hours ahead of schedule. Really, I think the most comments I've heard is the praise for our staff and those that helped plan, lead, manage, and then execute the plan. So, of course, we're proud of those men and women and appreciate all that they do every day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Bender. Appreciate it. Commissioner Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just well wishes and welcome to the folks in the audience. And it's, we've been a part of these for a number of years now, and some of them can go very long and be very, be very controversial and those kind of things. I think it's more indicative of the leadership, at the administrator's office. The budget does reflect the wishes of the
the wishes of the majority of the board. And as long as those things are happening, then, then it doesn't take this long, drawn-out process. And I think that the way the budget workshops and the budget hearings have gone the last couple of years is indicative of an administrator that, that understands that he works with the board and works for the people and, deploys projects and policies in that manner. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Berry, and I'll make that comment, as in probably less than 30 days, I'll be handing off the gavel to you, and it's been a privilege to serve as the chairman. And Stefan, I want to thank you, because without an efficient budget office, we'd be here all night. And so, Stefan, we appreciate it. You didn't make everybody happy, but you didn't pass it on and pass the buck on to the elected. I mean, you made hard decisions. So, Stefan, we appreciate you
Was it
being
third time
here.
the charm? Was it more fun the third time, Cherry?
Well, I mean, I
Do
tell
I
you,
have anything to look forward to?
well, there probably will be some disappointments tonight. I may make some motions that people won't like. But it has been a privilege, and this is probably the last time I probably will ever chair a budget hearing. But it's certainly, it's been great, Stephen, serving with you. I thought that I would get on this board and be a liberal spender and with all my conservative friends, but I've seen, Jeff, that I've been the most conservative guy on this board.
Next to me.
I mean, I know. I mean, I've been reducing costs since I've been here, but unfortunately, oftentimes I don't get help. But so I do want to commend, because it's in my district and it continues to stay in my district, the relocation of Baptist Hospital, and that I was able to spend time there not Sunday, but Friday, although I did go there Sunday, and spending with many ladies who had worked there 47 years, 35 years, 27 years, and it was just, a blessing to my soul to see that. People don't realize the amount of town hall meetings, the legacy, and the anxiety and the uncertainties that were shared. But I do want to thank Mark Faulkner and his help in allowing for us to be on the campus. And I do want to thank our PIO staff for being there to do what I believe is the right thing to do, is to record history because of the impact that Baptist has had on the African American community and the Baptist church, particularly the Baptist Black Church. And so we're glad to be over there on Sunday. We're glad to see my good friend Allison here, and that Lakeview is going to stay there. We would hope that we continue to recognize that it's not all about dollars, but it's about keeping the character of the neighborhood. And so we're going to continue to work with Baptist, Robert, in making sure that that exists. Chief Torcell and all of our EMS staff, and Eric, and for the hours that you spent. I mean, thank you. I was trying to get to the football game, but y'all continued to block traffic that allowed for me to be late for my mini-mite football game. But I did make my lunch meeting at noon, but I do appreciate all that you have done. And finally, Wes, thank you in your departments for what you've done to make this budget right, particularly in our outside agencies and our staff, to make sure that we are budget neutral. So with that, we will end this. I mean, obviously, we have public speakers, and that we certainly will engage. But to our outside agencies, some of you will get funded, some of your agencies will not get funded. I hope that the stewardship of this board recognizes that the most important thing that we can do is be good stewards of the dollars that citizens place in our care. And so whether that's putting in sidewalks or drainage, or whether it's providing for transportation, or whether it's providing for economic development, I think that my colleagues and I certainly take it to heart that we are spending other people's money, and we should spend it the same way that we spend our own money. And so we shouldn't just give out money, or we shouldn't just allocate money, create new jobs, create new positions just because we can. And so, Stephen, I will say that since you and I have been on the board, there's not been a millage increase at all. Actually, there was a rollback, and certainly our reserves are a lot better than they were before you and I got on this board. And so I'm very proud to say that I've sat on this board, and our reserves are very strong, and we have not increased the millage rate at all. And we have more money, Stephen, in reserves than we had before you and I got on this board.
Absolutely, exponentially more.
Excellent. So we, if they kick us off, they kick us both off in November, they got more money than they had before we came. Yeah, so that's very good for me. So Wes, do you have anything for the good of the order? Thank you, Wes. 501 public hearing for consideration of the final budget. Yeah, so I'm gonna say that and then I'm gonna call for the speakers. Thank you. Public hearing for consideration of final budget year 2023, 2024. We do have speakers. Would the board like to hear from the speakers before we? Thank you. Our first speaker will be Randy Crook.
Gentlemen, is this true here that I see a 9.8% increase in taxes over last year? Is that true? Are y'all good stewards of the tax dollar? I can't believe that. I don't believe it. When did the tax people, and that's you gentlemen, ever think of the everyday man and woman that goes to work and earns a dollar and he's overtaxed? Tax is a nasty three-letter word. I think that the everyday average man and woman that goes to work and has to pay these terrible taxes, and y'all frittered away unnecessarily. Now, I know that to be true. Just the other day, I was down in Navy Point for about 3 hours right there at the little park. I saw 8 county park employees sit for 3 hours and do nothing. Nothing. Now, part of that could have been their lunch. But they were there for 3 hours or more. I know for a fact 3 hours. I was there for 3 hours. They were there a little bit there before I got there and probably after I left. I think you need to cut some jobs to balance the budget and not this terrible tax increase. I think President Truman said it right at first in 1947. Show me a politician that gets rich while in office, and I'll show you a thief. Any word from any of you members? Steve Barry, I know you. I've been to your house. Anybody got anything to say? I think you've got too many hands in a pie, giving too many freebies out to people, businesses, and organizations that do not deserve. Who deserves more than everyday man and woman going to work? And you're not giving it to him. You're taking it from him. And you're misusing the public funds. Is that not true, Mr. May? You said it yourself. I'm on your side then. And anybody that wants a tax increase, any one of you commissioners, you ought to be voted out of office. Enough said?
Yes, sir.
Anybody on my side? You ought to have guts to stand up if you are.
Thank you, sir. I've never been invited to Stephen Berry's house, so I understand. Our next speaker, August Savage. Maybe you could invite me. I'll talk to Little Jack. Perhaps. I don't have a pool at my house.
I come up real quick. All I want to say is I'm begging you not to raise taxes, man. I'm working so damn hard, and I'm getting too old. And I can't afford it. I just can't afford it anymore. And now that they're talking about incorporating my area, those taxes are going to go up 30, 40%. It's crazy. This thing is, it's all crazy. Prices aren't going down. We need help. That's all I'm saying.
Ms.
We need-
Savage, Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Commissioner.
We're not raising your taxes. I've been in office 17 years. I've never once voted to raise the millage rate. We've grown the economy. This is a popular area. We and the people that live here and other governmental entities have made this an attractive place. People want to live here, so they're buying houses. The value of the tax roll goes up. We keep the millage rate steady, and it generates more money. It's not like we're taking that money and going to Tahiti this is for the other speaker too, we've taken that money and we've given historic raises to first responders, historic raises to corrections guards. We've done incredible things with our parks, our recreation. We've done incredible things in this county with that money. It's not making us rich. It's just important that people know that. It's only a tax increase because the state says if we take a penny more than we did the year before, we have to advertise a tax increase. It's a scam. We need to change that rule, because how are we supposed to pay the cost of living and this inflation in this economy if we keep the same amount of money that we had the year before? We couldn't give the firefighters and the lieutenants the big raise we gave them. We couldn't give the sheriff a 4-year deal, which we gave him. We couldn't give huge raises to our corrections guards, which we desperately needed to do. So everyone in this room knows everything costs more now. So I appreciate the fact, look, I'm never going to raise your tax rate, ever. Check what I've said. You in the back with the red hat, check what I've said. 18 years, I've never raised the rate year over year, and I won't. That means if the economy goes this way, I'm not going to raise the rate. We'll have to deal with what we get. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. And just remember that our wages never go up either.
Well,
Absolutely.
And that-
Thank,
that's-
yeah, Commissioner West, Commissioner Bender?
yeah, and Jeff, I mean, of course, and part of the, you say historical wages, it's not that we're not being responsible and that we're just handing it out. It's that we had some of the lowest wages and we needed to remain competitive so that those positions could be filled, that we could get the quality employees that we need to run the quality EMS and fire and public safety that quite frankly our citizens expect. And I think that's the thing is that that's what we need to do those jobs. So, again, the state just raised their rate on correction employees, and of course they're looking for another raise. And so again, it's to make sure that the services that we're responsible to provide can be provided.
Thank you, Commissioner McGosh. Thank you, Commissioner Bender. Commissioner Berry?
Yeah, very briefly. I mean, it's worth noting that the healthy majority of the property tax revenue goes to pay the sheriff's department and the administration of the jail. I mean, that's the vast majority of the revenue that we bring in on property taxes.
Commissioner Berry, you're absolutely right. And so we've not raised the millage rate, Jeff, and you're right. And so what I've often said is that if you want improved services, you have to increase revenue. I mean, either you reduce revenue or you reduce services. And so if you want services, you have to pay for that. But when you look at our budget and you do a deep dive and you look at where the money really goes, into our educational system, and the majority of our budget goes to corrections and to law enforcement for public safety because that's the #1 priority. You recognize that there's not a lot of fluff in the money that we do. I mean, we look at tourist development tax, we can't touch that really. I mean, it goes for tourists. I mean, when you look at the majority of our alarm taxes, it goes for law enforcement. And so, but I will say this, Jeff, I said I may not be around for the next budget, but obviously, it's in September, so I will, regardless. But we do have a commitment, and I've said this to people that walk up to me every day. We can't continue to give an automatic increase to people who make $70,000, $80,000, $90,000, and $100,000 when we have people who are making $15, $16, $17 an hour. And I would just say that to the administrator publicly. Don't bring another budget where people across the board are getting 3-4% increase, and we got people who are living in poverty who were working for us making $15, $16 an hour, and they got to stand in line for me to give them Christmas toys at Brownsville. That's unfair. I don't care whether they work in the janitorial. I don't care if they work in public works. I don't care if they pick up paper. We have to bring our people up to livable wages when they work for their government. That's fair. And I will say that, although I'm complimentary of this budget, I'm not at all happy when we're funding agencies or we're funding people across the board and we don't have money that bring people up to livable wages. And Stephen, I'm looking. I mean, so I may be the lone ranger on this, but I cannot help people driving my buses. I can't help people picking up my paper. I can't help people that's cleaning my toilet, and they don't have a decent place to go home to because we're paying them $15 an hour and they can't even live in Truman Arms. And because it costs $800 to live there. And so I hope that, it doesn't fall on deaf ears, but I am going to be the Lone Ranger on that, and I'm not going to vote for a budget that doesn't bring people up to livable wages in the future. So with that, Robert, you cut your light on.
If I could just ask the gentleman, what day were you at the park last week?
It was a couple of months ago. I don't remember the exact date.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact
Well, if
date.
you let us know, we can look into it, but I'm just saying, I mean, when we have devices and, I mean, that's of course not what we, again, don't know what happened, but,
Well, that's a bad supervisory, I would think.
so, anyway, I just want to ask, so, I mean, I would look into it if we knew the date or something, but.
Next time I go there, I will date and time it and picture it. You can bet I will, and I will come back down here,
You can email us and we'll
okay?
take care of it, sir.
But all this, we're trying to do good on tax stuff, I don't believe it, because I just see the property tax go up every year,
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
okay? So.
Sir, we're good. You don't need to come back. Just make an appointment with Commissioner Bender, and you can talk with him. You don't need to come back down here. We'll handle it from Commissioner Bender. Because obviously, not only have we, not only kept the tax rate, we've rolled back, I mean, Commissioner Whitehead rolled back the rate, and then Commissioner Robinson rolled back the rate. So we've had a rollback rate 2 times in history. So there has not been an increase in the millage rate since we've been here. So with that being said, is there anything for the good of the order? Wes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this is the second of 2 required public hearings for the board to adopt the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. At its first public hearing held September 11, 2023, the Board of County Commissioners adopted the tentative millage rates and budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. The law requires that prior to consideration of the final budget, an explanation of the rollback rate be provided and entered into the records. The rollback rate is a computed millage rate that would generate the same amount of ad valorem tax dollars as the prior fiscal year, based on the proposed year's tax roll, excluding new construction. The millage rates tentatively approved by the Escambia County Board of County Commissioners on September 11, 2023 are 6.6165 for the countywide millage rate, 0.3590 for the Library Municipal Services Taxing Unit, and 0.6850 for the Sheriff's Law Enforcement Municipal Services Taxing Unit. The aggregate of these millage rates proposed for fiscal year 2023-2024 is 11.50% above the rollback rate of 6.7023 certified by the property appraiser. This represents the percentage increase in property taxes tentatively adopted by the board. Staff has recommended one amendment to the fiscal year 2023-2024 tentative budget. This amendment, for an increase of $16,717,926, is for recommended adjustments to the tentative budget. The revised budget will result in a balanced unified budget of $718,681,245, which is 9.81% more than the adopted fiscal year 22-23 budget of $654,458,355.
Well, it's just for clarification for the citizen that asks, that 9% increase had nothing to do with a millage increase. It just had something to do with our projected budget.
You're exactly right. It has nothing to do with the millage increase.
All right. It was just a projected budget, which is an estimate of what we do, sir. And so, just hopefully that makes America greater with clarification. So we got it good. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the 501 public hearing.
We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Kohler, is that in favor? That's 5 in favor. Thank you. 5 in favor. Thank you so much. The board approved the community partners funding as discussed at the first public board hearing held on September 11, 2023. The chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the community partners funding as discussed at the first budget hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I'll need to abstain from this item. I've got the required form, so when the appropriate time comes and a second's made, I will read this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bagash. Is there any discussion? Well, Chair will entertain a motion.
All right, Mr. Chairman, so do we need to make a change for the 125? It's not reflected in the proposed.
Wes?
Mr. Chairman, in order to talk about the 125 as part of the community partners, it would cause a change to the interlocal agreement. We'd rather not have to do a change to amend the interlocal agreement for a one-time transaction. The money, Stefan has the money set aside. We can come back to the October 5th board meeting with a recommendation to address this funding.
Okay, so is PEDC now proposed at 600,000 rather than 725,000?
Yes, Commissioner, yes.
Okay, all right, I don't see that on my sheet, but okay.
And Steve, I think Rick Breyer's here, and, you know, do you want any discussion with him? Or you
No,
good?
it's not necessary. I just wanted to make sure what we're passing reflects just the same 600. Okay, all right. I moved.
So what were we moving, Wes? Is it 654,458, correct?
We're going to fund them what they were funded last year, the 600,000.
All right, level funding, all right.
And we will address the additional at the October 5th meeting.
All right, so it'll be level funding for PEDC, Steve, is
Yeah,
what
and
I
then-
read.
And then we'll discuss the other issues. I mean, it is a separate agency, a separate organization. We'll bring it back to the first meeting in October.
Sounds good. Be my last meeting, and then you'll have it.
All right. All right, so I move move to adopt the community partners funding as reflected.
We have a motion.
Second for discussion. So Stephen, just,
So we have a motion
Yeah.
and a second for discussion. Commissioner Bender.
so you're just going to bring something back at probably the level that was discussed previously for that other?
Bring
one?
back, the 125,000 is set aside. We'll bring it back for discussion.
Okay.
But I don't.
And I'm not asking
I'm not implying that I'm in support of 125,000. I'm just saying 125,000 is set aside, and we'll bring it back for discussion on October 4th.
And that's fine. And I think, I did have a chance to talk to Debbie, and I think that there is some that we could reduce that. So I wasn't asking for a commitment on the amount, but just if there was a commitment to still fund some of it.
Robert, I met with Rick earlier today, and I think that they're looking for other partners in the city, Pensacola City of Milton. They're looking at Santa Rosa County and trying to get something that will not have the impact on our budget that the 125 does. So I feel certain, because Rick and Florida West have been great partners, that Rick will come back with something that will be suitable for us to do.
All right.
So, I mean, I certainly agree with my colleague that we probably can't do 125, and I probably wouldn't be able to support that.
All right. Thank you.
So, Commissioner Bagash.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, Jeff Burgash, hereby disclose that on September 25th, 2023, a measure came or will come before my agency which will inure to the special gain of my relative, my spouse, Sally Burgash. The measure before my agency and the nature of my conflicting interest in the measure is as follows. Escambia County Board of County Commissioners' second public budget hearing, September 25th, 2023. Board action item 6.2, board discussion to approve community partners funding at the amounts discussed at the first budget hearing held on September 11th, 2023, presents a conflict of interest pursuant to Florida statutes 112.3143, Florida statutes, or an appearance of a conflict of interest pursuant to Florida statute 286.012 because my wife, Sally Burgash, is the executive director of the Health and Hope Clinic. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Bagash. Any other discussion? If not, the chair will entertain a motion. We have a moving second. Please vote. That's 4 in favor. Commissioner Bagash abstains. Thank you, Commissioner Bagash. Are there any speakers for public forum? Is there anyone here to speak on public forum? If you like, you can come up now. Thank you so much. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt the final millage resolution presented in the agenda backup. Millage rates presented are countywide millage rate 6.6165 mills, library MSTU 0.3590 mills, sheriff law enforcement MSTU 0.685 mills. Chair will entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second, please vote. That passes 5 in favor. Thank you so much. Chair will entertain a motion that the board adopt a supplemental budget amending the resolution amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 20 budget in the increase of $16,717,926 for the following funds. General Fund, $6,295,633. Mass Transit Fund, $62,239. Local Provider Participant Fund, $7,790,607. Tourist Development Fund, $306,934. Library Fund, $238,36. Miscellaneous Probation Fund,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, the library fund is 283,036, just to clarify.
Thank you for the clarification. 283,036 for the Library Fund. Thank you. Development Review Fund, 23,865. Gulf Coast Restoration Fund, 101,350. Fire Protection Fund, 257,820. Community Redevelopment Fund, 23,633. Transportation Trust Fund, 351,859. Emergency Medical Services, 178,652. Internal Service Fund, $1,029,760. Chair will entertain a motion at this time.
It's 796 on the internal services fund.
796, thanks.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. I pass 5 in favor. Thank you, Allison, for paying attention. Board-
Sorry.
No worries. That's why we pay high dollars for great attorneys. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt the final budget resolution of $718,681,245 for the fiscal year 2023-2024.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, second, please vote. Passes 5 in favor, thank you. Chair will entertain a motion that the board adopt the fiscal year 2023-2024 annual budget for the Santa Rosa Island Authority.
Yeah, move the budget.
Second.
A motion, second, please vote. Passes 5 in favor, thank you so much. Recommendation concerning the Lakeview Center participation in the Agency for Healthcare Administration Low-Income Pool. That the board take the following action concerning the low-income pool letters of agreement between Escambia County, Florida on behalf of Lakeview Center and the Agency of Healthcare Administrative for state fiscal year 2024 for the purpose of billing for Medicaid payments.
I move the item A and B in the affirmative.
Second.
Please vote. Passes 5 in favor. And we didn't need to read A or B, right, Madam Counsel? We're good, thank you. Recommendation concerning approval of 3% pay increase for 2023-2024, that the board approve a 3% employee pay increase as budgeted for and included in the fiscal year 2023-2024. This increase will be effective with pay period beginning on September 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, and congratulations to our staff, and Stephen, I will say before we pass this, I think since we've been on board, we've given a pay increase every year that we've been on this board. But I will say that, you know, I'm not a supportive of across the board 3% when we have people that don't have livable wages, and so, what I would say in the next 12 months, that needs to be worked on to have my support, you know. I certainly appreciate that. The chair will entertain a motion. Oh, good, all right, so who seconded it? Please vote. Passes 5 in favor. Is there anything for the good of the order? Wes? If not, I want to thank our staff and all of our outside agencies and all of our staff and our budget office for all of your hard work in making sure that we have a balanced budget. This is very important to our community and taking care of taxpayer dollars. With that, we stand adjourned. Thank you so much.